Travelling north a further 70 or 80 kilometres from Gympie, you'll be greeted with another visual treat. The heritage capital of Queensland, Maryborough, with its quaint shop fronts and magnificent old buildings. It is a city based on servicing the surrounding sugar, grazing and timber industries.
But what a lot of people may not know about this wonderful city is that it has a unique link to the world's most famous nanny that no other place in the world can claim.
Now, you might be wondering why we've had a change of costume at this point in the show. Well, all I can say to you all is two words: Mary Poppins. Now, this is where P.L. Travers, the woman who actually wrote the very famous book that many of us grew up with, still growing up with today, she was actually born in this building, in one of those top rooms up there. And a lady who can tell us a little bit more about this very, very internationally acclaimed Australian author is Maryborough's very own Mary Poppins, Carmel Murdoch. Tell us a little bit about P.L. Travers and her early start here in Maryborough.
Yes, the author of the Mary Poppins books, P.L. Travers, was born right here in Maryborough, and as you said, in this building right here. Her name was Helen Lyndon Goff, and her father was the bank manager in this building, and it was the Australian Joint Stock Bank.
Now, she used the name P.L. Travers for a very specific reason.
Yes, that's because in those days, she wrote the books in the first book was in 1934, and in those days that you had a better chance of having your books published if they thought you were a man. So P.L. sounds very masculine rather than Helen Lyndon.
So I decided to get a few lessons in being a lady and investigate what it was like to be a woman in Maryborough back in the 1800s.
Tell us about the use of these beautiful collars and cuffs.
Yes, they can change their outfit, but of course it was for another purpose as well. If you went to town, then you were dressed up. You were wearing your collar and your cuff. Now, what gets dirty on your clothes first? Your cuffs and your collars. So when you got home from being out in town all day, all you had to do was remove your collar and remove your cuffs. And that was all you had to wash. You didn't have to wash all of this regalia. But it was also for another purpose too, because if I just had the one outfit, because they didn't have a lot of clothes in those days, some of the settlers, so simply by adding different cuffs and a different collar.
Matching as well.
Matching,
beautiful.
Then I had a different outfit.
Oh.
So the ones that I'm wearing on my right arm would be more for evening.
Right.
And I could get away with wearing just something light cotton during the day.
It was a man by the name of Walt Disney who decided to turn the books into a movie, but there were substantial differences between Lyndon's books and Disney's version on the big screen.
With Walt Disney, he wanted to make her character rather sugary sweet, as Julie Andrews is. However, the real character in the books is quite strict. You know, Spitspot, come along, hurry up, you children. So that was the character. And he took just a few of the stories from her 6 books and made a movie. He also had in his mind, when she wrote the book, she had in mind different music, but he had music created especially for the movie.
So I heard that she sat there in the audience during this premiere and just cried and cried and cried. She was most unimpressed.
Yes, she was. But it was the movie that actually made her more famous than the books.
Let's go straight to the knickers. Tell us, what would ladies wear as underwear back in those days?
Well, I always tell the young girls today, little girls wear knickers, but back in those days, ladies wore pantalettes.
So the more puff,
yes,
the more...
the bigger the better.
Then it was about petticoats. These days it's about busts.
Yes, no, not so in those days.
And a woman of many talents, Carmel not only plays the character of Mary Poppins, but 3 other characters.
When I'm wearing this hat, I'm Mary Poppins, and I have other hats and bonnets which make me Mary Heritage, as you are dressed today, and I conduct walking tours of the city and bus tours as well. And then I have another character. At Christmas time we have lights, all the houses light up and the businesses, and so I conduct tours as Merry Christmas. And then I'm also the hostess on the ghostly tours and tales of the Port of Maryborough as the Mary Widow.
And I was lucky to get a one-on-one tour of the stunning City Hall with Mary of Heritage. Designed by Brisbane architects Hall and Dodds in American colonial style, Maryborough City Hall was erected in 1908 to replace the original timber town hall, which stood on the opposite side of Kent Street. And today the council provides free guided heritage walking tours of City Hall, which are open to the public.
We had an arsonist who came into City Hall and he set fire to this room and destroyed the clock that was in here that had been made by a former alderman, which contained 20,500 pieces of inlaid timber. This was the first clock that gentleman had made, and so he gave it to his son John. When his son John discovered that his father's clock that he had given to the people of Maryborough was destroyed in the fire, he then replaced it with his own clock that his father had given to him.
So, Carmel, how many pieces of wood in this particular structure?
There is 12,000 pieces of inlaid timber. The frame is made from rosewood, and there are 24 different varieties of timber, mainly Queensland timber. Just rub your hand over it and you can't even feel the joins.
With or without my gloves?
Without your gloves, yes, you can't even feel the joins.
If you want to get your picture with the statue, of course, you can do that anytime. This life-size statue of the movie icon was erected in the town in 2005, and I'm pretty sure the Maryborough author would have been impressed with their efforts.
So do you have a favourite part of the film yourself? You know, your own rendition of Chim Chimmery?
I like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's my favourite. It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Faster!
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Let's go back to City Hall, gorgeous. Return to the 21st century on our way.
Okay.
What are we cooking this morning?
We're going to cook ham and eggs for breakfast. But we're going to actually do it on a pizza base so that we could put this ham and on eggs right now and then go and fish for half an hour and then come back and we can have our ham and eggs. So this is our sort of like our pizza base, and I've got water boiling in the base. That's going to be the heat that will cook the pizza. Right. We've sprayed the tray out. Now it goes into the large saucepan, so just some pizza paste on the base, some ham on. We're going to make a little nest in the ham and break the eggs into the nest.
So, Maren, that's all nice and well there. So how do we put the eggs into it?
Well, we'll put the pizza base into the pizza tray and we'll break the eggs into the top of the pizza amongst the ham.
I see.
Just some smaller spinach leaves, some cheese. Cheese goes on the top as well. Start the boiling for 10 minutes on the stove. Put it into the dream pot. Close the lid up. Turn off the stove. And let's go.
How simple was that?
Really easy. Okay, so we'll take our breakfast out, Barry, our ham and eggs. So if you just slide your egg lifter in like that. Let's come and have some breakfast.
Brekkie time.
There we go, love. Can you manage that?
Magnificent, love.
You'll be set for the day.
You can view this recipe online at 31digital.com.au/caravan and camping/recipes. After the break, Mark ever so gallantly tries to land me a whiting for my supper. Don't go away. Camp Cooking was brought to you by Dreampot.